Welcome to Ironcast, the next stop, Winterfield's 1v1. This is, of course, Men of War Assault Squad 2, an ancient RTS that's been jerry-rigged to keep on going. And maybe you have not heard yet, but they are making a Men of War 2. Could it be good? Let me know, I'd like to know. But whilst you comment, let's introduce our commanders today. For the British, we have Hoffman, and also playing the Ostrapan is Unbroken. They'll be fighting over a large snow-scraped landscape with someone's house in the middle. It's World War at your door instead of on the DVD where it belongs. Now, heavy German advances along the southern border. Unbroken, deeply invested, entirely ignoring the other two assault zones. Grenades being tossed, dispersing the troops behind the rocks. Now, these are elite German units. They're both going to win either by skill or numbers, but they've got both. That still only leaves them with one capture point. But if Unbroken is unbreakable as their name, they could lay down a solid defense here, making it hard for the British Hoffman to recapture this area, allowing Unbroken to then focus on a different zone to capture. Most likely the middle one. Doesn't have to be. German soldiers advancing with another reinforcing British squad, all lining up against this wall. I don't think they're in range to be grenaded by any German soldiers. And that MG laying down some good range suppressing fire. Hoffman easily captured the uncontested zones, and I think they're trying to sneak this soldier around to get a grenade on any of the soldiers here. Too bad for them, though. Some more Ostrapan are on their way. And he's right in their path. He's not been spotted just yet, though. Laying low in that camo. Unbroken now making a move on that central point. Easily given up by Hoffman. There is a reinforcing squad on its way. A few infantry from that northern capture point making their way over here through the buildings, tossing grenades. It's a menacing micro challenge. Unbroken gonna blow up the vehicle, and it blows up quite nicely. And when people say that this game has too much micro, it's too intensive, that's where you got to be thinking about alleviating some of those problems that you might have difficulty with it, because everyone's got different amounts of skill to them, different qualities of skill. Ooh, nice grenade, but no kills. I'm gonna back up and crack open those med kits. So, for example, we can see a machine gunner on the right side of our screen, and he's beautifully positioned, and you don't need to micro him. If you can put units in positions where they can excel, you won't have to micro them. And of course, there's always turning on the automated AI options. That can be pretty good. It means you can focus on key units whilst allowing your soldiers to kind of make their own decisions. And they're pretty good at it too, honestly. They will run for cover. They'll always run for cover. They will advance if you just simply tell them a location to go to, and they'll make their way and duck for cover as needed. And as soon as a battle ends, they will resume to advancing, and they will even retreat as needed as well. It's fantastic! Returning back to the southern point. Unbroken, not as unbreakable as they might seem. The point still raising the flag in their favor. But nonetheless, if that flag isn't raised to the top, you are not scoring points. Over on the northern point, a hail of gunfire and sandbags, which are not beautifully placed, but they will be effective nonetheless. You can hear the rat-a-tat of the Lewis machine gun has just shot someone's hat off. An open field lays before their vision, which is perfect. What Unbroken needs is some specialized ordnance. It could be as little as a sniper, a mortar, light vehicle, or just a bigger machine gun. And the Germans have plenty of those. Grenades still being tossed around. We've got the rifle grenade as well, missing their mark. And I like that Unbroken has fanned out their soldiers. You can see there's a couple of elites back here. It's the first thing that they teach you at the assault squad school. Spread your soldiers out. Like those elites are going to advance. Not sure why they would want to advance. An enemy squad will meet them, and somehow they're surviving the hail of gunfire enough to chuck these grenades behind the wall. Get that promotion, earn those medals. And finally, a purple heart will be betrothed to your chest. Instead of a real heart, the one you need. May have been a mass-killing blow and a decent infantry trade, but they've seemingly lost the south, the north, and the central point is like Portugal. It's neutral, completely and totally neutral. Reinforcements sent to the north by Hoffman. Do they need the reinforcements? Because, uh-oh, I hear a vehicle. There is a Piat that may stand in its way. Could be spotted, though. Any of the infantry behind the sandbags. I mean, there's not a lot obstructing a shot from a 2-3-4. It could fire and penetrate through those sandbags, no problem. The Piat is spotted, shot at, killed, destroyed, gone, vanquished, slain. And a 2-3-4 could advance now. It's highly unlikely that anyone would bring more than one anti-tank. At this stage in the game, it's just kind of a big investment to put two anti-tank measures on the same side of the map. Unbroken orders the advance of the vehicle, begins shooting into the sandbags, and it is extremely effective. The North will be conquered by Unbroken. Now Hoffman moving infantry in.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Commandos, no less, but those commandos are going to need some kind of anti-tank countermeasure. They're really not going to get it. There's so much infantry just lined up, and again, look at that spacing. It's small. It's not much. But they're kind of meticulous with just ensuring that there's a few meters apart between the infantry. That's individual clicks there. Now Hoffman conquered the south and has continued to move their infantry forward beyond the limits of what we usually see. Is it going to be some kind of insurgency? Picking off a big target later on, just keeping them hidden. I mean, what they really need right now is a countermeasure to the 2-3-4, and it shouldn't cost much at all. Just a 2-pounder. It can be a fantastic investment. Small emplacements, like a 2-pounder, can be easily hidden. They don't cost too much command points as well, so you don't have to feel like you're over compensating. Like, you know, if you get a big AT gun or a big tank and you take out the enemy's big tank, you just have this piece of equipment that no longer serves a purpose. Just like that, Unbroken has drawn a new powerful red defensive line. Hoffman looking extremely weak. All 3 points lost. They aren't on Baywatch anymore. They're an extra casualty. But I have confidence in their ability to regain control, though. A 2-3-4 is hardly a challenge. Broken just keeps pushing their luck. Onwards they go to bust only some sandbags, and a Cromwell Mark 8 95mm appears in the designated spawning area. On a map like this, you can't go into what I'd call the surprise zone. Tanks or anti-tank guns, they range from 100 meters to 160 meters, let's say. If you have something in range of spawn, they'll have spawn immunity and first shot rights, and they're only going to buy what will take out your important asset. Hoffman needs to acknowledge a Panzerfaust dangerously close to their asset, firing upon it, but a lot of those bullets are missing. A second Panzerfaust arrives, takes the shot. Easy come, easy Cromwell go. Oh no. It is repairable. Still, it's a devastating blow, and that buys Unbroken time to field an appropriate counter. Although a Cromwell 95mm, that's a hard one to counter. Any arc fire tanks are. Perhaps they could have broken through with a light vehicle. A 234. No, not that one. A light tank. Something with a bit more armor-penetrating punch to it. They'd have to clear out the infantry in the area, and who knows what could be infesting that forested area. Perfect for something like an AT rifle or a Piat. Just, you know, hiding out there, chilling. You know, earlier, Hoffman decided to advance their Piat, but if they just waited and got the surprise, that element of surprise, we could have shut down that 234, the first one, much earlier. We do have a Crusader AA tank out. And the 234 is trying its best to take it out. Instead, it gets hit by some Piat bloke. Nice one, Piat bloke. Soldiers taken to the sandbags. The Crusader AA firing over the top, receiving a mighty promotion. And Hoffman still has those infantry on that hill. And they're moving down now, so they will reclaim this southern capture point. But that still leaves 2 in the hands of the Germans. Now the 234s, which we can see their glorious wreckages in the middle of the fields. The second one didn't do too much. The first one did alright, so I guess you could say they averaged out.
Yes, sir.
Now the Crusader is moving over to the right, but there is Panzerfausts in the way. They've not been spotted. Takes the shot, and it doesn't hurt. Trying to recruit some additional armor with a 234 there, I see. So many infantry, so many Germans hiding behind that stone wall. And a British regiment section will line up opposing them. It's just bullets back and forth. With 80 grenades to boot! The soldier who threw the grenade gets caught in the explosion. Yeah, we forgot about that part. Seems like all the tank commanders in today's battle need to go back to training. At the back of Unbroken's army is a beautiful T-34-85. Beautiful Panzer. Beautiful Panzer. Very beautiful indeed. Nothing to really oppose it at the moment, but it has nothing to really shoot at either. Some HE shells, I think, aimed at these soldiers here. But it's a tough angle. It's a very tough shot. It needs a bit of height to it, so it can aim down. And there's really only one hill that would allow you to do something like that. Big investments, massive drops, a downwards graph of cost-effective yearly projections. For me, personally, I'd get a mortar. They are really annoying to deal with, and most commanders will try and run them over with a fast-moving vehicle, which if guarded by any AT, is going to net you a light vehicle kill, and you'd still have a mortar at the end of it. Here's that British sniper, at risk of death by an 85, which is also backed up by a 234. Is there some kind of discount on 234s that I'm not aware of? This is the third one now, I think. Fairly certain Unbroken could not have recovered any of the other 234s. The score at the top of the screen currently, not much difference. Hoffman losing the zone advantage, so Unbroken will remain in the point lead. Many blue dots operating in the north. And they're going to have a 234 to contend with. When haven't they? And I do dream of a tiny anti-tank gun being set up in that forest. I can't tell you how effective it would be. Trees are great for soaking up high explosive shells in enough numbers, which is what you want to take out an AT gun. You want to use high explosive rounds, but luck would also play a factor. A shot could go right through those trees just perfectly, hit the AT gun, but then again, it's better than nothing. So you technically could try and use the trees as a shield, be an interesting tactic. It'd also be really hard to spot the AT gun. And this is what I love about this game. There's so many creative, hyper-situational, conditional elements to it. There's no just one thing will always work. And there's mind games, lots of mind games. If you have any really good games of MetaWar Assault Squad 2 to show, then why don't you hop on down to the Ironcast Discord? Show me what you've got. I love seeing these battles. Unbroken has ordered the advance of infantry on the northern side, claiming new ground. The Cromwell is back in operation. Its shot sinks into the rocks. 2 infantry manage to stay alive. When perhaps they probably should have been killed by that shot. The Cromwell is like taking emergency maneuvers. Wants to get back behind this hill. It's a safe, snuggly spot for it. Anywhere around here should be pretty good. Obviously, they need to get rid of the trees. What did I tell you? Trees, great for absorbing HE shells. Sometimes that's maybe not what you want. 234 is really forward. It's got a good target. I mean, there's a lot of infantry here, but at that range, it's taking some time to get through the sandbags, so provided that the infantry decide to hide behind the sandbags. Again, having that automatic AI on, they will correct themselves if they find themselves at a disadvantage. Hoffman needs to get creative with their attacks. Got the Buderpanzer to deal with, and they don't have an answer at the moment. They could inflict some damage, sure, with the Cromwell, or they could just pick off individual infantry. Poor German soldier.
Yes, sir.
That was a mighty accurate shot there from the Cromwell. But I think the best that the Cromwell could do to a T-34-85 is track it. Maybe shake up the crew inside, stun them for a little bit. Much better to put it to use against the things it can kill. Might need some time to home in on its targets, and the reload time is kind of large. Ideally, you want to take out key targets like machine guns, but it's going to be hard to see. We have a couple of infantry hiding out in this building here. I think they're waiting perhaps for a tank to eventually navigate this central area. It's a good plan, not just because obviously you take out a vehicle, but I think it's proportional response. More than the Buderpanzer. Like, if you can have a very cheap unit take out a very expensive unit, fantastic, but looking at it this way, I haven't seen Hoffman really want to commit to anything big. They've chucked out a lot of infantry. I don't think they're going to have a lot of money to spend on something big. But you never know. And if you are unsure, then just having some AT at the ready, somewhere sneaky, somewhere where they don't expect, somewhere where they could easily charge up, you know, in 2 seconds time and fire that critical shot off. There's that sniper again. I think Hoffman has spotted the enemy sniper, who just got a promotion. Let's see if that shot hits. Oh, it does! A standing sniper shot as well. Tend to find they miss when they're standing up. Great stuff. Oh, the Cromwell got taken out. Hoffman regretting that. They moved their tank, I think, a little too far away from that hill. And it gave the T-34-85 a clean shot. And Unbroken took it. We got ammo drops being called down by the sniper. Unbroken had done the same. It's very important to make sure that your machine gunners, in particular, because they go through ammo very quickly, they have an access point to rearm and resupply. Unfortunately, though, for Hoffman, all they have at the moment is infantry, and they bring in even more infantry. Commandos! Lots of elite infantry for Hoffman. They are expensive to bring in. They fan out. They're getting, I think, pretty destroyed by this wave that's advancing through this area. Commandos not performing as impressive as one might hope. We're past the 20-minute mark now, and Unbroken is 20 points away from winning. Hoffman has a bit of a climb, and I really do think that they are going to need some armor to do it. Commandos playing around the hill. They're fairly pinned down there. British sniper looking for single targets to pick off, but Unbroken's taking cover. And a squad of soldiers behind a tiny wall contemplating, I think, a mad sprint to the central zone? They'd likely be gunned down by all kinds of guns. They're not going to take it. Big guns, little guns, ones with multi-barrels that are so command and conqueringly cool. Unbroken, no longer bothered about contending the southern point. They've got a strong grip on 2 zones, and that's all they need. Keeping the attention wherever Unbroken wants it. Like me, I think the British could use a tea break. Although my tea has once again got cold. Because, I forget, I like the process of making tea. Possibly more than the process of drinking it. 2, 3, 4 getting a promotion, and that's just typical. Gets a promotion, then gets destroyed. Gets all the benefits of the paycheck increase, cashing out on a golden parachute, but then no longer does any of the work. I wonder if a golden parachute meant something different in the war. Because if, you wouldn't want a golden parachute unless you want a crater named after you. That'd be like wishing bad luck on someone to wish them a golden parachute. Anyway, sidetrack. Got all this infantry here, and not a lot of things for them to do. We need a piece of military hardware that can take on the Butapanzer. I've just noticed this line has been abandoned. I think some more infantry are on their way from Unbroken to reinforce this area. It was such a strong perimeter. A few British soldiers trying to move up and advance here, getting knocked around by the Butapanzer, which I'm not sure I'm pronouncing properly, but that's okay, I hope. Soldiers firing over the wall as the Alliance advances. It's devastating ground to stand on, just a few holes to hide in. Hoffman is stalling this game out for now. Interesting that we're getting this horizontal battle from south to north instead of east to west. Sometimes that's just the way that the battle evolves. It's not a bad angle to launch an attack from. It's just that the angle really isn't the issue. They need the tools. Now we have SAS soldiers here. Hoffman likes the infantry. I do too, Hoffman. I admire that dedication to infantry-based warfare. It's difficult to pull off. I still consider anti-tank guns infantry-based. You've got the 2-pounder, the 6-pounder, the beefy 17-pounder, the BL 18-inch railway howitzer mega-pounder for that little bit of extra feck-off power, which isn't in the game. Regardless, they are all highly accurate, one-shot, one-kill, advisable to integrate into any infantry-based composition. The 2, 3, 4 sitting pretty, gunning happily away as British soldiers. Ooh! It just got blown as uppeth. I think from an 80 rifle from the South Hill. An incredible shot. Still, though, they've got to deal with that T-34-85. Unbroken, getting infantry into that cap zone. As There's a fortunate crater in there that they can hide a soldier in. It works both ways. It works very one way, though, if you have a flamethrower. Nice stuff! Hoffman, you legend. It's the absolute perfect unit for the situation. And it will have taken some thought beforehand to realize you will need something like this. Time is of the essence. The number of soldiers on the field is depleting, and Hoffman is exploring new avenues of attack. It's very possible that they might be able to threaten the T-34-85 advancing round the buildings as a huge blind spot. There's also the other direction as well. It could force that T-34 back. New vehicle is on its way, and it's not a 234. All of those, I think, have been purchased already. There's none left in the bank. A half-track, though, will do just as good as a job. Oh, actually shooting the big metal cylinder thing, and its momentum rolls over the AT infantry. He tries to pick up their gun, takes a shot. It is a hit, but it doesn't destroy. Absolutely heartbreaking for Commander Hoffman. It would have been a striking win if they could have done that. It would have boosted morale so much. Infantry cowers behind the might of so much machine gun fire. And as they are suppressed, it allowed the soldier to run up, chuck a grenade, and they just have no idea what to do with that information. They're not soldiers, they're tank crewmen. SAS soldier, though, gets a lovely stick of dynamite behind them. Oh my lordy lord! Yeah, right back at you. You know, did you... Oh, excuse me, did you drop this? You can cook those sticks of TNT, so the element of surprise will remain on your side. The battlefield looking very gloomy and empty for Commander Hoffman, and the call is being made. Victory goes to Unbroken! Congratulations on your win. Now it's back into the dark for me. Do let me know what you think of Men of War 2, or get in touch if you have some cool games to cast. You can find us on discord.me/Ironcast. This YouTube channel is entirely an RTS channel now. There may be other YouTube channels I work on in the future, but this channel is going back to what it originally was. So cheers and celebration. That's it for now. My name's Anuki. See you for the next cast.